Your biological signature is currently suffering from digital overexposure. Look at your indexing threshold, the way your life is meticulously archived in social media footprints, about me sections, and the constant desperate need to be seen and categorized by the algorithm. You are a biological unit experiencing a state of terminal privacy liquidation. The Matrix has successfully branded transparency as authenticity and visibility as success. But in the terminal of the absolute power grid, being known is just a tactical vulnerability used to allow the system to map your weaknesses and predict your next move. You are living in a state of chronic informational infection, where your activation energy is being spent maintaining a public image rather than achieving total strategic obscurity. The system doesn't want your anonymity, it wants your searchable history to be the proof that your spirit has been successfully indexed and placed in a behavioral enclosure. Thousands of years ago, power was defined by the biological scarcity of the sovereign's image. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the unmapped dark, understood that the unknown was the ultimate force multiplier. He mastered primal grounding in the law of the invisible apex. He didn't seek recognition or followers within the tribal hierarchy. He offered the visual rage of a total, unyielding informational void. His hierarchy was built on the foundation of the Sigma paradox, the state where one is most powerful when they are least perceived. The understanding that the human brain is a machine that achieves its highest computational density only when it operates as a ghost variable that the world cannot solve. His biological rebellion was his total refusal to be documented. He possessed a mind that treated fame as a biological toxin, stripping away the publicity sludge until only the monolith of his raw, sharpened intent remained. He understood that the moment you are understood by the herd, you have surrendered your apex signature and become a data point in the simulation. To weaponize the paradox, you must first become psychologically repulsed by the concept of having a profile. The Sigma paradox is the implementation of the collar of the ghost sovereign for your final internal dominance. The system wants you to be findable and relatable, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological siege of the data grid. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of identity hooks, stimulus-response lures, and deciding to be the one who shorts the circuit by being indifferently obscure. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream social recognition. Building a personal brand is a horizontal bond for the herd to keep them tethered to the validation loop. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the blind spots of the digital radar. Use the temporal noose of the total informational secession to force the system into a state of pattern failure. Use the false safety of a calm robotic delivery to mask the activation of your total internal independence. This is the collar of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose intent is not being broadcast from their current digital footprint. The Matrix cannot simulate the leverage of a man who is effectively non-existent. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need to be remembered is the knot. Every story you post and every update you share to justify your existence is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the total informational audit. Your mind is a biological weapon, and it is currently being jammed by the static of your own socialized fear of being forgotten. You must perform a hard reset of the identity instincts. Stop being searchable, the industrial waste designed to keep you at the bottom of the ledger. Stop participating in their social networks and status contests, the digital propaganda designed to make you believe that engagement is a victory. Stop using their bioprotocols, the narratives designed to keep you in a state of constant strategic exposure. You must prune your life of information parasites. If a connection requires you to show your face or tell your story to function, it is a biological saboteur. You must learn to love the weight of the absolute obscurity. This is the monolith strategy, becoming a biological fortress that is the void by choice and sovereign by design. Command, delete the data or be the index. The neural interface of your social survival is currently suffering from identity leakage. Look at your exposure threshold, the way your nervous system glitches when you aren't checked in, tagged, or verified, effectively allowing the Matrix to map your entire psychological terrain through your digital and social breadcrumbs. You are a biological unit experiencing a total privacy sovereignty liquidation. The Matrix has successfully replaced your primal shadow with a systemic transparency. You believe that by sharing your journey, you are inspiring others, but in the terminal of the absolute power grid, visibility is just a targeting coordinate used to ensure your apex frequency is always monitored and neutralized by the predictive models of the mediocre. This is the visual rage of the domesticated male, seeing your high-value activation energy being bled out into curating a feed and managing perceptions, while the true operator remains in a state of absolute zero, converting his total rejection of being known into a biological ghost code that makes him immune to the simulation's tracking. The system doesn't want your obscurity. It wants your data to be the proof that your spirit has been successfully harvested and placed in a public archive. In the ancient hierarchy, the law of the unbreaking stone, the master was the one who could survive the total absence of a witness. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the unmapped dark, understood that legacy was a tracking beacon for enemies. He mastered primal grounding by becoming an informational ghost, a figure who understood that the only way to retain absolute authority was to be the hidden variable that the tribe couldn't factor into their equations. He didn't seek recognition or monumentalization from his peers. He provided the visual rage of a total unannounced disappearance. His hierarchy was built on the foundation of asymmetric obscurity, the understanding that the human brain is a machine that achieves peak respect density only when it is confronted with a presence it cannot Google or index. His biological rebellion was his total refusal to leave a trace. He possessed a mind that treated publicity as a biological trap, a signal that his trajectory was being averaged out and capped by the herd. He understood that the moment you are famous, you have surrendered your apex signature and become a product in a market you should be ruling. To be a master, you must first become psychologically repulsed by the concept of having a reputation. The Sigma paradox is the activation of the anti-chew protocol for your final internal dominance. The Matrix wants you to be findable and relatable, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological siege of the recognition grid. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of attention hooks, stimulus reference lures, and deciding to be the one who shorts the circuit by being indifferently anonymous. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream social status. Building a following is a horizontal bond for the herd to keep them tethered to each other's opinions. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the psychological high ground by controlling the flow of your own biological data. Use the temporal noose of the total digital secession to drive the system's influence into a state of information dissonance. Use the false safety of a calm, robotic delivery to mask the activation of your total internal independence. This is the color of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose value is not being broadcast from their current search result ranking. The one who can go the longest without checking his analytics is the one who eventually owns the algorithm. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need to be seen is the knot. Every update you provide to the unworthy and every personal detail you share to be relatable is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the second stage of the informational rearmament. Your mind is a biological engine, and it is currently being choked by the visibility sludge of the unworthy. You must perform a total neural asset reset. Stop being known, the industrial waste designed to keep you at the bottom of the ledger. Stop being a node in their network of mutual observation. Stop being a unit of compliance in their ledger of men who are easy to find. You must prune your social interactions with the collar of absolute sovereignty. If a connection requires you to show your hand to be sustained, the connection is a biological failure. You must learn to love the weight of the absolute obscurity. You must learn to love the friction-heavy hours where the noise of the collective is muted and your dominance is the only signal in the dark. This is the monolith strategy, becoming a biological fortress that is the unknown by choice and sovereign by design. Command: wipe the record or be the target. Your biological trajectory has reached the terminal velocity of data-driven dissolution. Look at your recognition threshold, the exact moment your nervous system triggers a panic response because you have deleted your digital presence, stopped responding to the social pings, and the collective is no longer able to verify your existence through a screen. You are a biological system in a state of chronic activation decay. The system has successfully replaced your apex stealth with a series of visibility obligations disguised as building a brand. You no longer seek to dominate your own neural landscape through unmoving obscurity. You seek to be discoverable. You no longer seek to be the sovereign. You seek to be the top result. This is the visual rage of the terminal slave, seeing your life force being digitized and archived in engagement metrics and follow accounts, while your physical reality remains a quiet, managed enclosure of unfulfilled DNA. You are breathing in the toxic fumes of a collective that demands your availability as a form of tribute, leaving you lightheaded, fragmented, and fundamentally easy to neutralize because your history is a public roadmap. The system doesn't want your ghosting. It wants your transparency to be the foundation of its perpetual control over your informational sovereignty. Return to the ancient hierarchy, the law of the unbreaking monolith. In the primal world, the master was the one who could remain a biological void, even in the center of a storm of surveillance. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the absolute cold, understood that power was a product of absolute anonymity. He mastered primal grounding by becoming an impenetrable core, a figure whose face was a secret and whose refusal to be indexable was the only law. He understood that to seek a legacy is to confess a lack of internal gravity. If you are participating in the visibility script provided by the herd, you are acknowledging that their recognition is the barometer of your reality. He used his silent sovereignty to create a cognitive resonance of absolute, unshakable divinity by being the only untraceable variable in a room full of puppets. By being the master of his own internal feedback, he forced the environment to treat his obscurity as the new truth. He was a master of the visual rage of the unblinking sun, the ability to look at the tracking probes of the rival and see only the static they represented. He understood that the human brain is a machine that runs on social validation loops, and by cutting the loop, he triggered a biological rebirth in his own command. To be a master, you must first become psychologically unreceptive to the need to be remembered. The Sigma paradox is the activation of the anti-chew protocol for your final mental expansion. The Matrix wants you to be findable and transparent, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological jailbreak of the identity. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of data control nodes, stimulus response lures, and deciding to be the one who burns the grid. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream fame. Being known is a horizontal bond for the herd. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the psychological high ground by controlling the flow of your own biological signals. Use the temporal noose of total informational and social withdrawal to drive the system's influence into a state of pattern dissonance. Use the false safety of a calm, robotic delivery to mask the viral infection of your total non-compliance with the beta norms. This is the color of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose value is not being broadcast from their current digital footprint. You are not hiding, you are deleting the noise. The one who can go the longest without reporting his status is the one who controls the end algorithm. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need to be indexed is the knot. Every update you provide to the unworthy is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the final informational imperative. This is the tax of insight. You have been given the key to the vault of biological obscurity. To keep it, you must use it as a weapon of total social dominance. You must become a living monolith of unshakable invisibility. You are no longer a peer, a colleague, or a friend. You are a sovereign operator. You must perform a total system liquidation. If a profile, a technology, or a relationship requires you to be searchable to function, it is a biological saboteur. You must prune your life with the collar of the absolute zero. You are building a fortress of results in a world of digital shadows. Your absolute unreachability is the physical proof of your biological leverage. You do not provide feedback. You create a reality in which you are the only absolute truth. You do not seek to be known. You are the law itself. You are the architect of your own shadow, and the world is merely a mirror reflecting your ascent.